Hey guys, welcome back to ReelBlue Custom Rods. Today we're going to do another live episode, and today we're going to talk about white metallic thread. This is Colorfest, or excuse me, this is ProWrap's metallic white thread right here. Actually, let me just take this off of the spindle real quick. My apologies. And welcome, whoever you are, the first one to join, welcome to this week's live channel. So again, this is ProWrap's metallic white thread. I'm going to show you a couple interesting things about it once we get going here. But I'm going to wrap a couple guides on this ice blank that you can see right there. And then I'm going to talk a couple things about this thread. And why I'm doing what I'm doing, and then maybe even show you something that you might not have seen before, or if you've seen all my videos, you've probably seen it before. Just a different technique when you're using this thread, which I think is important, especially with this thread, not necessarily with metallic thread, but with this white metallic thread. I think this trick that I'm going to re-show you guys, I think is kind of important. So I'm just getting my thread set up here. And then let's talk about the guides that I'm using for this wrap. So these are just easy peasy CRB ice rod guide kits that you can get from Mudhole. Hey Brian, what's going on, man? I'm glad you can get you're able to watch as well as it's going on. So this is just an easy peasy way to do it. Ice rod kit, CRB guides for an ice rod build. I think these guides are legit. And I think they work perfectly. As you guys saw before, I already have one of those guides on here with that wrap that I did previously. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to show you just how I, kind of my method and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So the first thing that I want to point out with the guide is I am not going to file down the foot of the guide. Even though I probably should, there's times that I do, and then there's times that I don't. I'm not going to do that today, though, because specifically for the reason, because this white metallic thread that I'm using, which, again, I will show you guys here in a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple pieces of tape. I'm just using some small tape here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm level, straight. My red mark is where I actually want my guide placed. So not the heel of the guide, but the guide ring itself. So I'm going to lay this down here. All right, now I'm going to set that on there. And then I like to use this one piece of tape to give me some space. And then I'm going to use another piece of tape to give me a border to work against with this thread. So I'll just take that off. I'm just going to wrap this around there. Probably a little too much tape, but that'll work. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, again, this is the metallic white thread. And then I'm going to really just start wrapping this once I get my lead here. I'll start wrapping this on this blank and over the guide foot. And then once I get over the toe in a little bit, I'll start wrapping up a little bit more. Get the bite over there. All right. All right. Bear with me for a second. Let me get this thing going. There we go. Okay. So now that we've got that started, I'm going to go ahead and pull that tight. And I'm not going to pull a lot of, I'm not going to apply a lot of pressure here on this metallic white thread because this metallic white thread is not like, you know, a black metallic thread or really any other color metallic thread that ProWrap makes. This stuff is really kind of, I don't know, man, it's kind of sensitive, I feel like sometimes. So I'm going to wrap this. And actually, I'm going to come off a little bit. I went too far with that. So I'm going to just come back and cut that little stem. All right. And then we're just going to wrap this around. This guide foot here. And once I get over that toe, I'm just going to pack this in a little bit. And these noodle ice blanks, man, are super flimsy, which is great, right? Super sensitive. Sucks when you're putting guides towards the tip of the rod on these things, my personal opinion. Okay, so I'm getting close to that foot. All right. And I just want to pack that a little bit as I go. And when I get a little bit more, I'll pack a tiny bit more. I don't want to put too much pressure and then knock that thread, this bunch of thread right down. So I'm just light taps to get that where I want it at. All right, and I'm just going to keep rotating this around. And then keep packing the thread. And I think when I come around this time, I'm going to grab this piece here. There we go. And then take this little bit of this tape off gently. I'll keep this other end on while I keep wrapping. Now, you know, I know this is, you know, none of this stuff is advanced technique or anything like that. It's just a standard, you know, wrapping of a guide. But I just wanted to, you know, show you guys what I'm working on and then give you some explanation, kind of the, you know, the method behind the madness, if you will. So I'm going to keep turning that, and now getting down to here. Use my burnishing tool to help grab that tape. And kind of hold everything with the right hand, pull that off with the left hand. All right. Okay, so a couple of things. Why did I choose to use metallic white thread on this build when I really didn't use it down there on the decorative wrap? The reason is that because this is an ice rod build and the action is very fast on the tip of this, like this noodle is very sensitive. I don't want to have a lot of finish on the guides when I have it down there. So I'm using this white metallic wrap so I don't have to have too much finish on it. Plus, as you guys will see when I get down here towards the end and show you, there's actually something that I'm trying to achieve here. So I've decided to use this metallic thread. So I am going to, I'm just eyeballing. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to, let me cut a piece of this size A thread. And then, all right, so I'm just going to use this piece of orange. thread to help me pull my loop through and so you guys can see it. So I have my orange thread, and then I'm just gonna keep wrapping. And maybe one more, because when I pull that, it's probably gonna come down a little bit. Yep. All right. So you can kind of see what we're working with a little bit, right? So you can see where this orange thread comes underneath this metallic white thread. And oh, by the way, you can kind of see the guide foot, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back this off. Again, I'm loving my new scissors that I got, these Penta Angels, pretty good stuff. You can find those things on Amazon like in a 3-pack for like $5. They're pretty legit, way better than just the standard ones you get when you buy it, if you bought like a rod building kit. All right, and that was that. So super sensitive. So you just saw I was just trying to pull that piece through and it snapped. So the thread is really sensitive, if you will. But it's great thread to use for things. But if you've never used it before and you buy it thinking you're going to get some like cool looking white metallic thread that you're going to, you know, slap into some decorative wrap you're doing, you'll be surprised when you kind of learn about what's going on with it. All right. So there is that. So the next thing I'm going to do, I've got it wrapped up. I'm going to come back here with a piece of tape, and I'm just going to use the sticky part of the tape to help me remove the China marker or the grease pencil or whatever you guys like to call those markers, the grease pencil. I'm just removing most of that just to get it out of the way. Then what I'm going to do to keep the theme rolling, if you will, to keep this rod build in. Whoa, look at that, man. That's the things that happen when you're going live. So to keep things in line with the theme on this build, I am going to, as you can see right here, right, this was the build. This is the same rod where we did this different stuff. So to keep this in line with that theme, I am going to use a little bit of black metallic thread. Now, because as you can see, once again, these two guides are pretty close in the technique where I like to use some tag wraps, post wrap. And thank you to whoever gave me the thumbs up. When I do the tag wraps, I'm going to turn the rod upside down initially, especially when I'm doing the straw technique. I know there's all kinds of ways to put tag wraps in. I just like the straw technique for some reason. So now what I'm going to use is some 980 size A ProWrap metallic black thread. And then I'm just going to cut me a piece enough to get on here to do this tag wrap. All right, so we're right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how I kind of count 5. And I look down, I make sure, you know, I got 5 bands down there, which you can see, 5 of them. I'll run this in through here. Turn the rod. Run this in through this end. Then I'll hold these with my finger. I'll pull the rod out. I'm going to turn, or I pull the straw out, turn the rod. And I'm going to slide this down. Again, ice rod set up in a spinning configuration. So I want, you know, any of my imperfections on the bottom. All right. So then I have this black tag wrap. And then we're going to come in here and cut these tag ends off of that. So that's 1. And that's 2. And then one last thing, I'll just come back around here with my burnishing tool. All right, so here is the finished wrap, if you will, right? So really quick, before I get into the next part, have any of you guys used white metallic thread from ProWrap before? If you have, just make a comment in the comments block yes, or if you haven't, you can leave a comment block down there and just let me know if you have or have not. If you have, what do you think about it? So the next thing I'm going to do that I'm going to want to show you guys here, I'm moving my hand wrapper out of the way, is so there's a technique or something I was shooting for, right? So I want to see what this is going to look like. All right, and this is one shot of vodka. I'm just kidding. This is distilled water. So this is just regular distilled water in a metal dish, a stainless steel dish, right? And the reason why I'm doing this is I want to know what this is going to look like when I put the finish on, because it's metallic, white metallic thread, right? So all I got to do is just dip my brush, and you don't need a whole lot. And the great thing about, you want to use distilled water here. Like I've done a short video on this before. You want to make sure you're using distilled water because you want the water to be pure, to be clean. You don't want any minerals. You don't want anything in it that's going to leave residue on your wrap, your guide, your blank, or anything like that. That would essentially be accentuated when you put your finish on it. So I'm just, I have some distilled water. And then all I'm doing is I'm going to take my brush and go right on top of that wrap. And now you can see what this wrap will look like. So what happens, really, if I'm seeing it right, is a lot of the white goes away, but the pearl color exists. Right, and so you can see some of that water sticking out back here out of the back, and that water will just evaporate, right? So the reason why I did this is I know when I go to put my finish on here, thank God that I have the white blank because that really helps me keep it white here. But you saw when I put that on there, that the guide foot really becomes prominent, and it's black, right? So it really becomes prominent in this build, but you can still see like that mother of pearl, I don't know what you would call it, mother of pearl, rainbowish type colors that are inside that white metallic thread. And this is the difference between the white metallic thread and something like the black thread, or, I don't know, a blue thread. That's not going to do that. You're not going to get that effect. And I think sometimes people buy white metallic thread because they think it's going to look cool. And you're going to go in there and you use it as part of a decorative wrap, and you use a lot of it in your decorative wrap, and then you go and put the finish on, and then all the threads below it appear through the bottom when you put the finish on, right? When in actuality you thought that you were using the white metallic thread and it would cover the wraps below it. So I just thought I would share this with you. One, you can see how I'm going to continue to build this ice rod out and the look that I'm going for, and I thought I would pass along. Just remind you guys of a technique here on being able to, look at what your wrap is going to be like. NCP threads, you can use it on NCP threads, but what you really want to use this on, you really want to use this technique when you're working with nylon thread. Case in point, this is ProWrap Color Fast 404, right? And this is the same color but in nylon, 404, but in nylon. So if I put my finish on this blank over this thread becomes a lot lighter and translucent, and it does the same exact thing that this white metallic thread does versus something like a Color Fast thread. So again, something to put in your kit bag if you didn't know. If you did know, great. I'm glad I was able to reinforce it for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you're able to get a lot out of it. If there's another video you want to see, or if you want me to make a specific video on something, leave a comment in the comments block. and I will do my best to get a video done for you guys on that stuff. And if you care, if you wanted to see something else, I'll give you a quick update on, I know it's been a while since you guys have probably seen the bait net, but this is the update on the bait net. Almost done with these colors here, and I just thought I'd share that with you guys, and you can see that. So, hey, as always, I appreciate it. Make sure you guys watch this next video here. Thanks for supporting the channel, and until next time, guys, take care. Bye.